everyone, welcome to another video on the JayBee
Hey.
and Milly channel. Today I'm going to be reacting to my first impressions to Velma episode 8. JayBee, I know you've already done your first impressions and stuff like that, so they are on the channel, go check them out. But I'm playing catch up here and I'm hoping to see a better episode than last time.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's going to be saying much. I don't want to bore anyone, so very briefly.
You do know, you've seen what happens. Like, you know if it's going to be as bad as the last one.
No, because I enjoyed the last one more than you.
You're stupid. Let's get this video going.
Get the video going. But if you're watching this and you absolutely hate Velma, don't worry. Please subscribe to the channel because we do weekly interviews with Scooby-Doo creators starting from 1969 all the way up to 2023. So the whole history of Scooby-Doo every single week. Next one is the 75th interview, which is absolutely amazing. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into the episode.
This is what the last episode should have picked up. Should have done, like, picked up in exactly the same space.
I forget where the last one did end.
Wasn't it in Fred's basement?
Oh, you know what it was.
I like it when they're doing instead of just talking. What the hell are they doing?
It's trying to break the fourth wall. Oh.
This is his parents' basement. Are you kidding?
The brains.
Oh, this got disappointing. And that's saying something. No, that's genuinely stupid. They've gone episodes without mentioning those brains, and that's how they want to deal with them.
Well, what's Tommy? What's your thoughts?
I don't have thoughts. Like, clearly the people that wrote this didn't either. Like, the amount of creative, good story plots they could have done with why the brains were taken. Several of which I propose, like, what is it? Zombies? Is it like about a reference of like the popular people not having brains, stuff like that? And it's some weird science thing where they're speaking without mouths.
I like the score. You can't go from Daphne.
Oh, you don't get worse than this, believe me.
My God. You look shook. Yeah, everyone's just ditching Velma now.
I'd love to, but I've committed to watching the last 2 episodes.
Were you contractually obliged? I thought they're playing Minecraft or something.
Velma is disgusting.
Who would you pick?
Velma. This is the most stupid thing I've ever seen. Like, this is the quietest I've been during an episode. I just don't have anything to say. I'm just trying to get through it. I'm waiting for it to be finished so I can go and play a game or something that's not this.
Is this the worst episode ever?
It's the poorest construct of any TV episode I've ever seen. This constant flash between time. Like, I appreciate it's for adults who can, like, adults and normally they can read, but there's no need to, like, throw so many, like, titles into it. This brain plot genuinely is the biggest disappointment since episode 1. Like, since the show was announced. Like, it's terrible. Oh, that would have smashed. That's because it is human, Velma. No, stupid. I repeat, those jars would have broken. I'm not even.
What's a jalopy? Oh, you look angry. I'm sorry.
And can it just be said, look at that out of that window, okay? They did better background animation in what was it when this first came out, 1969? Where they just had like a meter reel on repeat or something. That looked better than whatever they're doing now. It's just lazy animation.
Yeah, they're just kind of whizzing, aren't
Yes. Not why did you abandon me for so many years?
they? Oh, look, it's over. Does that make you happy? Does it fill you with hope?
No.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay. What's you discussed? I'm very curious to
Oh,
dive.
what does she mean? Who took you? The mum knew the way out. She could have come back whenever she wanted to.
You
What
know,
does she mean? Who took you? She knew the way out. You can't
you know
say
what?
she'd have gone back to her daughter. She didn't want to be around Velma, and quite frankly, I wouldn't want to be either. I'd fake my disappearance for the last 10 years to get away from her.
I actually didn't think about that the first time I watched this, that she actually actively knew the way out,
Out.
had a vehicle, and seemingly walked like freely. So yeah, that's mad. So okay, so as you say, you spoke the least in that reaction. I think we both did really. Then in the whole series. So what were your kind of head thoughts, or like what was your motive, or what were your grievances?
Oh, this is going to come back to bite me. The writing's absolutely abominable. It's terrible. Like, I have sat and watched Mystery Map. I've sat and watched Chill Out Scooby-Doo, where literally the unmasking was the only person not there. And both of those are better constructed than the fact the three brains were transported into an episode of Futurama where they were kept in a glass jar that could communicate and had an eye like a cyclops on the front of it. Like, it's ridiculous. It is the biggest heap of rubbish I have ever seen. It's terrible. And that's why I wasn't speaking. Like, here's the thing about my personality. If I'm loud, it's because I care. Like, if I'm arguing with you, like JayBee can attest to this. If I'm shouting and I'm angry, it's because I care. When I'm silent, it means I've given up and I'm done. I just like have zero interest left, and it is what it is. That's kind of where I reached with this at that point when I saw those brains. Like, until now, I've been fighting through it because I actually like Scooby, so I was like trying my best to care, but that plot line was just so rubbish that was me past my limit. Like, I'm done. It can't get better from here. Like, what's left to establish in 2 episodes? There's nothing left to establish. They found the brains, they found the mum, who probably is going to run off again by the end of the last episode. Like, that's it.
So here's the thing, right? Now, I did not think much about this episode at all when I first saw it. Does it give you any, not a hope, that's really the wrong word, any life, any life, right? To know that me having watched all 10 episodes would put this episode that we just watched at the very, very bottom of the list.
No,
Why?
because I don't think it was quite as bad as the last episode.
Really? I thought it was at least the last episode, not this,
No.
was at least entertaining. There were different settings, music, character moments that were just memeable, like the dancing, Daphne dancing Velma. Whereas this was boring. It didn't need to have the flashbacks. Like, I'm yawning after this episode because nothing was achieved and it was just flashing forward and it was
No,
boring.
this will still be in my top 5 episodes because at least they developed the
Really?
plot. There was
Yikes.
some plot development there. The last episode, here's the thing, you didn't need any character develop. Like, you didn't have to be invested in the characters to follow some semblance of story in this episode, which is what made it relevant. Least, whereas in the last episode, if you weren't invested in the characters, there was nothing there for you.
So, would you care to put your mouth where your mouth is? And from your point of view now, like your favorite part is the mystery, right?
Mm.
At least so far. But what are your theories? What do you think has happened? Tell me. What's your genuine
What do you
theory?
mean? What's my theory?
Like,
Like,
who is the serial killer or killers, or what's the score?
I don't have a clue who it is, and honestly, and I know this is a boring answer, I don't care enough to speculate. I don't care who it is, and I don't want to waste my time, my brain cells, or my effort thinking about who it is, which I realize isn't helpful for this conversation or this channel at
It's
all.
good.
But I genuinely don't think that it deserves enough of my brain capacity to contemplate the outcome of the last episode.
So I guess my penultimate question is, what was your favorite and least favorite part about this episode?
Hmm. Hmm. That's a more difficult to answer than normal.
I am knackered, you know.
Hmm. I I really don't know. I feel like I didn't like any of it. It just was, and none of it was worse than other parts. Do you know what I mean? It was all just the same level of poorly told trash. Like, the brains was the stupidest concept I've ever seen in a Scooby media. Like, both Fred and Daphne are supposed to be madly in love with Velma. So how is it the mum appeared out of nowhere to rescue her when there was two people who she's meant to be at the center of their universe that just didn't move? What indestructible material are those glass jars made out of? Because honestly, they've hit the floor quicker than the ratings of this did after the first episode. Like, genuinely, it's terrible. None of it was worse than the rest of it. None of it was better than the rest of it. It's just consistent crap.
That was a boring episode. That was the worst for me, just because it was boring.
For me, the show's over there. They found the brains, found the mum, and honestly, yeah, yeah.
So then tell me, this is my last question, and then I think I'll probably fall asleep or something, because it was a boring episode. But what would you rate it out of 10?
2. No, 2. Yeah, 2, because I think the bits that I really hated, like the brains and stuff, that wasn't the fault of this episode. That was the fault of the plot. Do you know what I mean?
We love Scooby in the Velma show.
No, Scooby's been protected from this. He's not had to be in it once.
The brains or the plot and Velma's mom.
Yeah. It. Mm. The best part of this episode is when they made a joke, like, this is worse than turning a much loved animated franchise into some really crappy spin-off. It was like, at least you know how rubbish you are then. Like, that was the best bit.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. There's nothing to be said about it. It's just like the same monotone, crappy humor looped on repeat across 10 episodes that you've just got to get through.
Yeah. Okay, I am actually.
And you're positive. You're like the more positive one about the Velma show, and you're yawning.
Well, I'm okay with anything as long as it isn't boring, you know. That's the cardinal sin for me. Like, I'm okay with watching the worst thing in the world as long as it isn't boring. Like, if I'm disgusted by something, shocked by something, or repulsed by something, I'm fine because that's an emotion. But with this episode, yeah,
And what's interesting is when you said that I was angry, it was when the mystery machine came on the screen. And I genuinely am just, I don't feel like any part of the Scooby, like whenever anything Scooby related is kind of brought into it, I just feel like it shouldn't be. It doesn't deserve for it to be associated. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Let's go make dinner.
Okay. Well, I've not had dinner yet.
No.
Oh wow, okay. I was disappointed that the night was over then. Okay, so
Have a risotto.
oh okay. Well, let's watch another episode of Velma. I'm just kidding. Thank you so much for watching. If you do want to see more interviews, more reactions, more content, then please subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.